sometimes when you're a startup and when you're a new business, you don't have big money to wing at people. It might be worth it, right? If you quantify, you might figure out, well, if this person's really good, I was thinking I was going to pay them $25 an hour, but I could pay them 40 if they can come in here and be efficient and skilled and hit it perfect. If they're the exact right person, I could afford to pay them 40. Whereas if you haven't quantified it, you just go, well, I got to start at minimum wage and work from there, or I can only afford 20, or I can. You don't know what you can afford unless you go, okay, well, if I'm bringing in a green person who doesn't know anything about this and they're not going to be efficient up front, I got to probably start down here because I need to get this much efficiency out of them from day one to at least break even on that employee as I'm investing in them. Or if you bring in a skilled person who already knows something and can come in and do it as good or better than you on day one, maybe you can pay them more, right?
Yeah.
Quantification will tell you that answer, right? And I've quantified that, and I know that I can pay guys more, and we do. When the right guy, like when we headhunt a guy and I'm going, that is the person that I need. They're the right personality. They're the right fit. They have the right skill set. They come with a customer base. They come with connections. They come with all these positives. I know if they come in and they do this, I can afford to pay them this.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid. That seems like a ridiculous, crazy salary. How could you afford to offer them that much money? Because I did the math and I know what they're going to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Right? I quantified it. And so I don't even hesitate at that point. I know what I can pay. Right?
Which takes a lot of the mystique out of it.
Well, it's not like I've given guys salaries that to me seem like absorbent and insane, and my guts are turning on it. But I also can look at the scenario and go, if they do this, this, and this, that's going to translate to this much income, this much profitability, this much value, whatever. If they can bring that value, then pay them.
Yeah.
And then you duplicated and scaled your business. If you have this quantification model, whatever this thing is, it's a truck driver, it's a mechanic, it's an accounting person, it's a salesperson, it's a whatever. If they can come in and do this, and I'm sure that they can do that, then pay them.
Yeah.
Don't miss the opportunity because you're going to do it again and again and again and again, right? You're just limiting yourself by not doing it over and over and over again, right? Yeah. Which leads me into another point. This all sounds hunky-dory, and this is all really, it sounds like, well, you just X facto, X plus Y equals Z, right? It's perfect. The thing we're not talking about, and the thing I'm assuming when we have this conversation is that you have the work, right? That you have the market share, right? And this is what I'm saying. When you're the entrepreneur and you've come in and you've built up a really good customer base and you're overwhelmed, you'll obviously have the work, right? If you are just keeping the guys that you have busy with what you have now, you can't just franchise and duplicate. Your sales isn't coming up to match with that, right? So I just want to clarify that I'm making that assumption at that time. You do have to have the market share and the work and the growth ability. And sometimes that if you're new to that, you might need to figure out what your market share looks like. What is the available size of your market? Like when they put a new McDonald's in a small town, they check what the population is. They know quantitatively. Yeah. This is another quantifying thing. They know quantitatively that if there's 10,000 people in this town, that in an average town of 10,000, 5% use a restaurant per month. So that means that we're going to get 500 people through here per month, and this is how much revenue approximately. And they go, okay, that works. So then they'll put another one there. Yeah. Right. If I'm doing my mechanic shop and I've got an extra bay open, or I've got enough space to add a mechanic, I need to quantify, well, that I need 150 hours worth of work for that guy, or else I need 100 for him to break even. So if I don't have 100 of excess work to move into that, hiring him also will put me at a negative net to start. Yeah. Right? Which I might be willing to accept if it's a growing, moving process. And I see, well, month over month, we're adding this much. This is the thing that I think is going to happen. Here's what's going on in the economy. And so then I can be progressive in that respect. Or sometimes, again, when you get to our size, you start planning ahead. Okay, we're not overly busy now and we can operate now, but I know we're going to grow by this much percent, and this is how much we've grown year over year for the last 5 years. Right. And so I need to preemptively be preparing my staff for that. I need to have enough trucks coming. I need to be pre-interviewing potential administrative people, dispatcher, sales people, or...
Well, then you can start planning ahead too, right?
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier to plan ahead.
Once you overcome the model, now it's it's getting your rhythm and your planning at the right pace so that you can move, so you can be prepared. Because what happens is you hire the new guy and then you overwhelm them, and then you hire another guy and then you overwhelm them. That's the typical way, but at a certain point, that's not prudent anymore. It limits your speed. If you're moving enough and you've got enough margin and profits and revenues to justify adding someone before the other person gets overwhelmed, then you can scale way faster if you're hitting that rhythm at the right time, and it's less painful for your whole team, right? I'm not saying I haven't overcome that, because we built this 27,000 square foot facility 3 years ago, a little more than 3 years ago, and 2 years into moving here, we ran out of space and needed more, and we'll be up in this building a little bit, like our new expansion, which is an additional 23,000 square feet. Will only be up at the 3.5 year mark from the time we moved in here. Well, I would have never have guessed in a million years that we would have doubled in size in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what happened. Yeah. So I'm behind the 8 ball. My teams are overwhelmed. Each office has three people in it instead of one. We're slammed. There's not enough shops. These things do happen. You can't always project all that ahead.
Yeah.
The economy does what the economy does. If you're really great at customer service and you're providing an excellent product and you're priced well, this is what's going to happen, right? Yeah. It's going to come. Yeah. But you also always can't count on it,
Yeah. The market will do what the market does.
The market does. And then it can turn around and go the other way and slap you in the face. So it's not so easy as just this. It's not just X plus Y equals Z.
Yeah.
Right. But once you quantify something, it gets pretty close to X plus Y equals Z. And you can have the confidence at least to move ahead by duplicating yourself and starting the process of duplication.
Yeah. And so that sounds like a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Duplicate.
Yeah. So what's
quantify.
The takeaway here? The takeaway for me is that you need to duplicate.
Yeah.
You cannot go far alone. Right? You need more people and you need to duplicate. And in order to do that, you need to quantify. You need to have your data accurate, figured out, and speaking into you a way that can give you the confidence that you need to move ahead so that you know what the next step is. And once you've started duplicating yourself, the more you do that, the more you can back away and work more on the business and less in the business. But until you prove the model, it's too scary to move ahead, or you can't have the confidence or the belief or the faith that it is going to work out the way you think it's going to work out.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening, guys. That's Built to Lead podcast number 5. Also ask that if this was valuable to you and that if you liked it, that you would like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, our podcasts, and share it with your friends.
Yeah, share it. There's lots
of business owners that are struggling or in this place and this can be helpful to them, we really do ask that you share it. Helps get our message out and helps us grow the podcast. So
thank you.
Have a great day.